Hello, and welcome to today's mini webinar on the Better Empowerment Now to Enhance Framework and Improve Treatments Act, also known as the Benefit Act. Your audio is muted when you join the call. Questions can be submitted via the question box on your screen. The session will last approximately 15 minutes, including time for a Q&A after the presentation. This webinar will be recorded and available on the PWSA USA YouTube channel. Effective advocacy is essential to ensuring the health, safety, and enhanced quality of life for those affected by Prader-Willi syndrome. As such, the PWSA USA community is committed to informing the rest of the PWS community of critical public policy issues to leverage the power of grassroots supporters to enact change. Because Prader-Willi syndrome is considered a rare disease, extra effort is needed to raise awareness amongst the public and elected officials to guarantee the passage of legislation and regulations that help our community and defeat those that do not. I'm going to go through the next few slides quickly, but don't feel like you need to take notes. After the webinar, you will be provided with a copy of this presentation, key talking points, and a recording of the webinar. First, we'll cover a little bit about rare disease research and funding, more about the Benefit Act, and what you can do to advocate for the passage of this legislation. Let's get started. Let's talk a little bit more about the bill itself. Many significant statutory and regulatory advances have been made in the past decade to ensure that the patient experience is meaningfully incorporated into product development and regulatory review processes. While much progress has been made through previous legislative efforts, some significant gaps remain. One such gap is the lack of any requirement in law today that the FDA include as part of its risk-benefit framework any patient experience or patient-focused drug development data. This means that the agency's signature tool for evaluating benefits and risks does not include data from the patient perspective that could be critical to informing the agency's evaluation of and ultimately decision to whether or not approve a product. To address this gap, Senator Roger Wicker from Mississippi and Senator Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota introduced the Better Empowerment Now to Enhance Framework and Improve Treatments, or the Benefits Act, which passed in the Senate in August 2017 and was reintroduced again in March 2020. This legislation will amend the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act to ensure that patient experience, patient-focused drug development, and related data be considered as part of the risk-benefit assessment. This also includes information developed by a product sponsor or third party, such as a patient advocacy organization or academic institution. The Benefit Act will also enhance an important transparency and accountability provision included in the 21st Century Cures Act by requiring the FDA to say how such patient experience and data was considered within the benefit risk assessment for any approved therapies. This will provide additional learnings to all stakeholders, particularly patients, and help further refine and develop such tools going forward. While patient experiences will now be included as part of the Benefit Act, this action will send an important signal to all stakeholders that the PWS patient experience specifically and the data that comes from patient experiences in clinical trials will be fully incorporated into the FDA's review process. It would encourage other entities to develop scientifically rigorous and meaningful tools and data to evaluate drugs that are currently coming onto market. Each of the two sides of Congress, the House and the Senate, operate separately as bills are introduced by individuals in each of the two chambers. The person or persons introducing a bill is called a sponsor. Representatives introduce House bills designated by the letters HR for House Resolution, and senators introduce Senate bills designated by the letter S before the number of the bill. In the case of the Benefit Act, the Senate has introduced the initial bill. It's important to note that the bill in the Senate has two sponsors, a Democrat and Republican, so it is truly bipartisan. Senators Roger Wicker from Mississippi and Senator Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota introduced the Better Empowerment Now to Enhance Framework and Improve Treatment, or Benefit Act, which passed in the Senate of August 2017, but also died in the Senate the same year. It was reintroduced in March 2020 by the same two sponsors. As of March, it is currently in the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. There is not a companion bill for the Benefit Act in the House right now. Rare disease advocates are working with congressional champions to reintroduce it in the Senate, which happened in March, and to introduce a companion bill in the House. In addition to the original sponsors in the House, in addition to the original sponsors in the Senate, Senators can show their support by by co-sponsoring this bill, or representatives in the House can introduce a companion bill in the House. By doing so, senators and representatives are demonstrating their support for the rare disease patient experience with their colleagues. We need at least 2 representatives to sponsor this bill in the House, because having a companion bill is one measure of the likelihood of a bill being passed when it is brought to vote. Now that you know a little bit more about the Benefit Act, let's talk about how you can advocate for its passage on behalf of the PWS community. Sending an email or physical mail is one of the most effective ways to talk to your representatives. When you send a letter or email, it's more effective if you address a single topic or issue rather than a variety of issues that you may feel passionate about. Typed one-page letters are best. A physical letter is more likely to be read than an email. You can typically find an email or feedback web form or the mailing address of your elected official on their website. Sending an email to an actual person is far better than visiting and using a website form. If you have trouble finding the best email or physical address, call the office and ask, and I'll help you locate it. Make sure that your letter is legible and try to make it stand out by including pictures or bright colors to make sure it gets attention and leaves an impact. Don't include any attachments in an email, however, as a staffer might get it caught in a spam filter and they won't be able to read it. Keep your letters brief, polite, and free of grammatical errors. Social media is also a very public way to show your support or opposition to the policies or actions of your representatives. Not every elected official uses social media, but the ones that do are easily found by visiting their official website. When posting, make sure that you tag their official page. Include a picture, as this increases the likelihood that others will read the text that goes along with it. Make it clear that you are a constituent of the elected official, and make the post personal. Be aware that any personal information that you post on social media may be visible to the rest of the public. Making a call is another great way to advocate for the Benefit Act. It takes less than 5 minutes and is one of the most effective ways to advocate. Staff are dedicated to answering your phone calls, and every call matters. Phone calls require minimal time commitment and no traveling from you. Every elected official will have a public telephone number that constituents can call to leave feedback. This could either be a place where you leave a voicemail or talk with a staff member. Only call your own elected officials and clearly state the address at which you are registered to vote so they know that you are a constituent. Clearly tell the staffer what you want the elected official to do, why it is important, and why you feel motivated to call. Stay polite with the staffer on the phone, but be firm in your interaction, as it will be short. Attending a town hall meeting is a chance to meet with your representative and get updates on what they've been doing. They are usually held in a public setting and are free to attend. Town halls provide fantastic opportunities to gain face-to-face access with your elected officials. During the coronavirus pandemic, a lot of officials are holding town halls virtually on Zoom. To find out when town hall meetings will be held, monitor your elected officials' website and social media pages, sign up for their email alerts, or call their office for event updates. In a typical town hall meeting, your elected official will speak for about 15 to 30 minutes about activities in Washington. Then they will open the floor to questions from constituents. When they open the floor to questions, raise your hand immediately. The longer you wait, the more competition you will have for the microphone. This is your opportunity to ask about an issue or piece of legislation. In this case, you'll want to talk about the Benefit Act. Make sure you have what you're going to say prepared in advance. You may only be given less than a minute to pose your question. Prepare a short summary of the Benefit Act and be sure to introduce yourself, state the bill number, the title, the summary, and the position that you are advocating for and why. Your summary and explainer should be no longer than 1 page, and only address one bill or issue at a time. If you aren't given the chance to ask your question during the meeting, stick around afterwards and find a staff member. They can take your comments, answer questions, and refer you to appropriate staff members if needed. Bring a business card or a printed letter about your issue to help them follow up with you. Don't forget to network with other attendees while you are there. It's a great way to get other people involved in the PWS community. You can also schedule a meeting to meet with your elected official or one of their staffers. By doing so, you can visit a local district office, and it takes some planning, but it makes the most impact. You'll have a chance to sit down with a staff member from your local district office, or maybe even talk directly with your elected official. In order to schedule a meeting, visit the website of the person you want to visit. You should be able to find a contact form with their scheduler's information or chief of staff, and you might even find a place on their website called Request a Meeting. If there's a web form under the Request a Meeting tab, just request a meeting, fill it out, and someone will get back to you. Most state elected officials have district offices that are near your home address. You can ask to meet the elected official or a member of their staff in your district office so there's less travel involved. If you're working with a chapter or other PWS advocates as a big group, you'll want to ask to request a meeting at a local library or a town hall or another local venue that could accommodate the size of your group. I really recommend doing this because the more people present at the meeting, the more amplified your message will be. You can expect to spend about 15 minutes or so with your elected official. It's not uncommon for your elected official to have a legislative assistant or staffer hold the meeting instead. While the elected official may only have a limited amount of time during the meeting, their staffers are in a position to dedicate more time to hear your position and address your questions and concerns. Introduce yourselves and make a short statement about your position, your ask, and your personal story and why you came to meet with them. Be clear with what you are asking the person you are meeting with to do. Stick to the issue you asked to discuss. In this case, you're talking about the Benefit Act. If the conversation goes off topic, bring it back to the reason why you came, and don't be afraid to press them for a definitive answer or position statement in support of the Benefit Act. Ask if the elected official will pose for a photo with your group, and if everybody's given permission to share it all over social media. It's another chance for you to thank your elected official or representative of this elected official for meeting with you and supporting the PWS community. While PWSA USA has prepared boilerplate templates for you to use, we encourage you to personalize these and use them in emails, tweets, calls, and letters to your elected officials. These templates serve as a guide to help you make the point, and then we encourage you to use your own words to add your personal perspective. Thanks for attending. If you have any questions, feel free to submit them via the question box on your screen. While everybody is typing out their questions, I want to remind everyone that PWSA USA is a 501c3 organization. So when you're meeting with your representatives on behalf of the PWSA USA community, keep in mind you're not lobbying, you're educating your legislators about issues that are important to you. This is so we don't jeopardize our tax-exempt status. I also want to take a moment to encourage everyone to register to vote, check your voter registration status, and turn up at the polls this November. When we talk to our elected officials, we want to be able to say that 100% of the PWS community votes. If you need help finding out about voter registration deadlines in your state, voting times and locations, or whether or not you're even eligible to register to vote, give me a call and I'll help you through the process. With that, we don't have any questions, so thank you for attending today's webinar on the Benefit Act. If you do have any additional questions, please give me a call, or you can email me at alucy@pwsausa.org. You can also reach out to us through our website, pwsausa.org, or email the general information email, which is info@pwsausa.org. Thank you, everybody, for attending.